Hello, Facebook ads people. I'm Konstantinos, and this is the Facebook ads breaking news podcast. Hello, Facebook ads people. Another podcast with me, Konstantinos, your host. And today we have a variety of topics. But before we jump into the topics, let's discuss a little bit about what happened the previous week. Um, I'm seeing more and more campaigns for Black Friday coming. Of course, I'm also super busy with several campaigns that I have to do for my own businesses, but also for my clients. Um, I can tell you that it looks like it's going to be a good Black Friday. The CPMs have not skyrocketed yet, they look fine still. And from my perspective, um, I think that I see a lot of people being passive aggressive. So they are not having any crazy deals like the previous years, but we can see some good deals across the board. Nothing super crazy, nothing super small. So it's a mediocre situation. I think that my strategies of starting ads earlier and keeping them during the Black Friday so that you can have ads for the period of the Christmas is also working very well. I think that these ads are going to help me for another month of doing ads profitably for my clients and myself. And to be honest with you, I think that whoever is not doing it, you still have time to do it. And you will see that you will have lower CPMs compared to the people that they're going to have higher CPMs when everybody's going to start new ads. The way of think around that is that basically what you're doing is that you're doing ads in order for you to be able to pass the Black Friday period and be able to go up to the Christmas period with these ads that they're not going to have a specific test for Black Friday, but something more general that you can keep. The reason behind that is because most of the times people after Black Friday for 7 days they stop the ads. These are common practices. It's not something that I have invented. These are things that people do throughout all these years. The same thing is happening after the 25 of Christmas. They stop all the ads for a week and they start again on January. The problem is that when everybody's starting their ads at the same time, the CPMs are higher. So if you have ads from the previous period with data, you're going to have your previous CPMs and you're not going to have the new CPMs that they're going to be when people are starting all of their ads. So if you haven't done it, try to run also during this Black Friday week some ads that are going to stay after the Black Friday period so that you won't have to do new. Now, let's discuss a little bit about some topics that I have here. First of all, I was talking with a client, and he was having some famous brands like let's say Adidas, Nike that he was advertising, and we had so many products that we didn't know what to do. An idea that came to my mind, it's marketplaces. So when you go to marketplaces, famous marketplaces like Amazon or whatever that may be, you can go there and you can sort them by the different companies and the different brands. And when you're having the different brands, then you're able to actually see which products are famous, see which products are having more sales, are having more reviews and everything. And based on that, you can decide if you're having a brand that is selling these brands. You can decide which ones you can put on based on the reviews and based on the sales that they have. So that's an idea that came to my mind. We tested it for about a month right now, and of course it's working. Why not? Because basically we are taking the best sellers that we see that they exist on the market with based on reviews and based on sales, and we just do our ads with them, and we're having good sales. So if you're selling products that you can find also in other places, just try to see in the marketplaces which of the designs are selling the best, and try to go with that. Now, second thing that I wanted to discuss today, and maybe it's our main topic, it's I'm a little bit tired of all of this craziness around Triple Whale and Hyros, and these third-party apps that they're going to actually help you to have, as they say, better conversions. I have videos on YouTube about that, but let me tell you my honest opinion, because I think we are having Andrew Tate effect here. What I mean by that, Andrew Tate became super famous because everybody who was buying his course, they were becoming affiliates and they were selling also his course, so they were doing videos about him and so on. And this was his model. So the same model is being used by Triple Whale and Hyros. Everybody is proposing them because they're taking a percentage as an affiliate. So you're seeing so many people that they are just proposing this and that, and you say if all of these people are proposing it, then that means that I should also use it. So let me tell you what is happening with these apps. First of all, I'm not against them. I will have to say that. And I will go into details for each one of them. But just in a general way, let me tell you that these apps are very good for business owners in order to know a lot of things like what is the lifetime value of a customer of mine. If I have a subscription model, what is the actual retention rate? When people are coming and how many months it's taking them to leave, so that I can know what my cost per purchase would be. For example, this is a major issue that we have in subscription based businesses. When there's a subscription model, we don't know when we are onboarding someone what's the cost per acquisition has to be in order for us to be profitable, because this person might come with $10 per month, but maybe they're going to stay over there for a year. So this is 120. That means that we can onboard them with 100, with 90, 80, so that the company can make money. Of course, in order for us to do that, we need a lot of time, and we need to be able to actually have data in order to decide the retention rate and to see that. But these programs are also helping us a lot because they are seeing each one of the users. They are understanding what the users are doing, and they're understanding the lifetime value that they have, because we are going to be able to know all of these people for how long they're going to stay in our business. This is the lifetime value of a customer. So that being said, we have all of this data that are coming, and we know how much money someone has spent to our store, how long it took them, how many times they came back, how much time they passed to our sites, all of this kind of stuff, which are very important information for business owners. But are these programs useful in terms of the data that they're going to give me as a Facebook marketeer? The answer is yes and no. Let me explain. So my main issue and the way that the Facebook platform is working, as we said several times in this channel, is that it's getting a sale, and then it's getting another sale, which is being helped by the previous sale, and all of this data that are fueling the next sales that are going to come. It's a part of optimization that the algorithm is doing. And the whole idea came after the iOS 14 that we don't have proper reporting anymore, so we need to know what's the actual situation. We need to know what's the actual situation, but it's not going to help us in optimization. And this is a debate that I have with some people, that they just don't understand that whatever Facebook cannot see, it cannot optimize towards it. So if in reality we're having 5 sales in an ad set, but Facebook is seeing 2, it's going to use the data of these 2 sales in order to optimize and not the data from the 5. And a lot of times there are people that they are trying to scale by using the data of Triple Whale or Hyros or any other app that exists out there. And this is the biggest mistake, because then you are entering the realm of actually gambling. So my problem is that there is this craziness of people proposing them, and they are not even analyzing on the technical side if this is going to help them on the Facebook side. So the situation is this: if these programs are you want to use these programs in order for you to be able to know lifetime value customer, to know, for example, because I said yes and no, to know, for example, if okay, I'm seeing 2.5 ROAS, but what is the ROAS in reality? Okay, you need to know that. You should not say, okay, this is the ROAS on the Facebook platform, I don't care about what's happening in reality. You should care what is happening in reality. The problem is how you're going to optimize it, okay? Maybe by observing Hyros and the Facebook ads, you are going to see that whatever 1.7, for example, ROAS is working for your business, or 2.5 ROAS is working for your business based on what you see there as a combination. But you cannot optimize based on what you see on Hyros, because Facebook doesn't see it and it's not going to optimize with it. So this is my problem with it. And there are a lot of people that they say that we go to a cookie-less periods and social media platforms period. So we will have to use these programs eventually. We can use these programs, but it doesn't mean that the optimization that we're going to do based on them is going to be correct. And from my personal experience, by using these programs a lot of times with people that they were stubborn enough and they forced me to do it, I can tell you that it's not working, because the moment you are starting to optimizing with false data, you are scaling ads that you shouldn't, and then everything just collapses. On the other hand, there are businesses that they don't care so much about what is happening on the platform, and they are just optimizing with these programs, which is fine, as long as you have different metrics that you are watching, so that you can define success. There are companies, for example, that they care about the cost per click in the platform, because they're going to make them convert anyway along the journey. They're so confident of their funnel. So this is my opinion about Triple Whale and Hyros. And now we're going to go a little bit in detail for each one of them. But let me tell you that don't fall for, because you see so many talk about them. The fact that you see so many talk about them is because a lot of times people are lazy and they just want to find a magical solution which is going to help them. But this is not the solution for Facebook ads optimization. It is a solution for business owners to know what is happening in reality. In other words, they could use these programs anyway, even before iOS 14, okay? And these programs, by the way, existed because before iOS 14, they just found a new use and a new story to say. Also, I don't like the fact that companies like Hyros, I have seen mails from their tech support that they say that, yes, Hyros is sending data back to the ad set level that helps for optimization. This is a total lie. And I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Becker. I respect the guy, but I think that he's a little bit ruthless. Based on what I see on crypto also and stuff, I think that he's a little bit ruthless and that he would do this kind of stuff. Or maybe he doesn't even know, and the guy who's managing the sales on Hyros took this decision without telling him. Who knows? But telling that Hyros or I never heard it from AAA, to be honest, but telling from Hyros reps that, look, this thing is working and it's sending data to the ad set level for optimization, it's a total lie. It's not happening, because it's not even partnered with Facebook in a way of doing that. Now, have I used Triple Whale and Hyros? Yes. Am I going to use them in the future or force my clients to use it? No. I don't think that is necessary. Is it helping? It's helping a lot. Does it worth the money? Triple Whale is cheaper, to be honest with you. It worth the money. Hyros doesn't even worth the money. It's super expensive for what is giving. Both of them are good in terms of tracking and everything. I have nothing to say about that. I must say that Triple Whale is a little bit better in a way of actually having faster reporting. Okay, so it has a 24 hours faster reporting. So sometimes, and I'm going to say that, but you're not going to use it in most cases because it's for very exceptional accounts. If you're working in Europe with faster reporting on 24 hours, you are able, when you see one ad set working, to scale it super fast. For example, when an ad set is spending 1K, you are watching Triple Whale and you are doing a bump of 20K, you're putting 21K, for example, in order for the ad set to spend 5-6K. So you're trying to push more budget, because if the ad set doesn't start at 12 o'clock and you put 20K, it's not going to spend 20K. It's going to try to spend as much as it can. So the more budget you put, the more you push to spend more if you see that something is working. Anyway, this is a very complex strategy that I wouldn't suggest you to do. It's for very big accounts and stuff. And it needs a lot of, monitoring while you are doing it. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing that you can do only with Triple Whale. I have done it, and I can tell you that it's working flawlessly. So that's my opinion about Triple Whale and Hyros. Now you know how to use them, and I hope that you're going to use them wisely. Also, let me tell you that all the agencies are proposing them, and yes, of course, they're proposing them because it's an extra income for them. Now that we're done with Triple Whale and Hyros, I would like to tell you that in the description of the podcast, there's a link for my affiliation link with Triple Whale. No, I'm actually joking. It's not. Let's go and talk about something else. I was watching a video the other day. There were some people that they were saying that when you are having negative comments into your posts, you should go and you should reply to them and everything. Let me tell you that I think that there are posts that they can be saved. For example, if someone is saying something about shipping, you can go and you can address it and you can say that, hey, our shipping times is this and that. If someone is saying for 3-4 weeks, so that you can pass a message. Whatever you're doing into your comment section, it has to give a message to the other people. So don't go into fights with people over there. If you see someone not being able to communicate in a proper way and actually do a proper discussion about it, just hide the comment. By hiding the comment, nobody else is going to see it, just him and his friends, so that he's going to think that it's still active. When you're having a page, sadly, you have to be a dictator. There's no freedom in a page. You can do whatever you want, and you can represent the brand in the way that you want. And of course, there are situations that somebody is very polite and they're saying something, and I don't think that you're going to harass them. But I think that there are some cases that people can be extremely rude and people can be extremely toxic just because of the anonymity of social media. And I think that because of that, you should hide the comments. Now, on that note, I need to say also something else. I need you to understand this. A lot of times when you were doing dynamic ads, and this is a technical thing, or we're doing normal ads and everything, the first thing that the ads are using is the engagement. So this is also the reason that we're saying that you should not use images with videos together, because 1 second of play, and as you scroll down, all the videos, most of the videos autoplay. So 1 second is considered engagement. The images need more than clicking or commenting or anything in order to engage. So when you're having engagement by comments and somebody is engaging, for example, you have a t-shirt and you have a spelling mistake. When you have a spelling mistake on the t-shirt, maybe there are going to be people that are going to come and they're going to say, oh my God, you don't know how to spell this, blah, 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 and start laughing at you or whatever. And this is also considered engagement. The problem is that Facebook is not able to understand that this is a negative engagement and not a good engagement. So what it's doing is that it's spending more money. So whenever you're doing your ads, if you're seeing one of your ads spending a lot of money and you're seeing that it's also engaging well, having clicks and everything, just go check also the comments, if you're not having sales, of course. Because at the end of the day, having very, very bad engagement is going to cause you a lot of issues into your CPO optimization or into your ads, because Facebook at the start, it's taking the engagement, says, okay, this ad set is engaging very well, this creative is engaging very well, so I'm going to give it more budget so that it's going to have sales eventually. This is how it's working. And then it's optimizing with a conversion event. It has to start from somewhere. Where is it starting from? The engagement side. So these are the little things that we need to monitor, because we say that we trust the algorithm a lot, and we trust the algorithm doing everything and optimizing and finding the proper audiences with the help of the pixel and everything. But at the end of the day, we need to also check the engagement and if it's bad or not, in order to understand if Facebook is optimizing for a wrong ad set because it thinks that it's a good because of the engagement. That being said, I want to share a story I had, and this is also one of the reasons that I actually don't criticize the creatives. A lot of times I was criticizing the creatives and I was telling I don't like this, I like that, or whatever. And then there is a period that I was working with a company that was having t-shirts, and they were doing a lot of different creatives and designs. And on one of them, there was a spelling mistake. The guy that was working with them, it was a very talented designer, but he was from India. So he did a spelling mistake in a t-shirt. I don't even remember what the quote. So it was back in the days that you could put quotes like, I'm a super mommy and I don't care, so something like that, and it was selling, okay? It was not that competitive. So there was a spelling mistake. Let's say that he wrote mommy with IE. And everybody was putting comments below saying, oh my God, you don't know how to spell and stuff and everything. But the t-shirt was selling like crazy. And this is when I realized that it doesn't matter what opinion I have for creatives or what opinion the owner has for creatives. Of course, there is a direction and we can say we like this or that, let's test it, or keep a brand guideline and say, okay, let's test this and that, it looks okay. But at the end of the day, you never know what is going to work and what doesn't until you're going to test it. Do you know what is the funny part? The funny part is that we corrected the spelling mistake and we ran ads with a correct ad, with running it to a page that had the new t-shirt with a correct spelling now, and it wasn't selling at all. So we kept running the other ad that it was having the spelling mistake. It was selling very well as a design for some reason that we don't know. And we were just laughing with all the people mocking us below in the comments saying that we have a spelling mistake and stuff. It was a very funny actually incident that happened. And this is the reason, and this is the way that I realized that you should not criticize all the creatives that you see, you should just test them. Now, in other news, we are having Mark Zuckerberg actually firing 100,000 people from Facebook. And I don't know if this is related with Metaverse and all the people that he hired there. But when I first heard that, I just prayed for a second that these 100,000 people, they're Facebook representatives. Imagine if he fired 100,000 Facebook representatives. That would be amazing news, right? Because my phone is ringing all the time from Facebook representatives, and they are causing so many issues. There are cases that they just try to talk to the client and they say you should do this and that, and they try to make them spend money in a wrong way. And you know my opinion about Facebook representatives. We have already said it in a previous podcast. But at the end of the day, I was saying to myself, how better was Facebook going to be if he didn't fire people that they were doing their actual job in the engineering department or whatever, and he would fire all the Facebook representatives, and then he would hire some people for customer support. That would be amazing news for me. And I have seen his video of him almost crying that he fired all these people. Does anyone believe him that he actually cares? I don't think that he does care about that. We had also Elon Musk firing so many people from Twitter, and then we saw some people in United States. They call them liberals. I don't understand the concept. Sorry, I don't understand what are the Democrats and stuff. Sorry for that. But at the end of the day, there are people that they said that they're not going to be now on Twitter because Elon Musk is actually changing the things here and there. Um, well, let it be. All I know is that, for example, I made a Twitter account and I'm going to be active from now on, posting there some of my opinions about Facebook ads. Because to be honest with you, it's not about Elon Musk. It's a long period now that I want to test Twitter, even do ads eventually to it. I don't know, but I think that. Twitter is a platform that, and this is what really intrigued me. When I was discussing with people that they have Twitter, they told me on how much they love the platform, which is the only time that I'm talking with people that they are using a platform and they say how much they love it instead of how much they hate it. For example, myself or other people, they say, I should delete TikTok because I'm losing so much time to it. I should not be on Instagram because it's making me toxic to post pictures of having fun while others can be at their homes and I'm trying to tell them how awesome I am. So things like that, they exist on the other platforms, but when you see Twitter, you're seeing people that they actually love the platform and they love the community and everything. And yes, it's a super toxic community in some ways. But let me tell you that for me, when I realized it, it was a little bit shocking that there is actually a platform that people love to use and they really like. Okay, so that being said, let's move to another topic. Yeah, okay, so I was debating with a person. It's not a client. It's actually a friend. The other time, not a friend. He's a business owner, and we were discussing a little bit, and he was telling to me this. When I'm doing top of funnel campaigns, I want to exclude all of my past clients or people who engage with my social media because I just want from Facebook to give me fresh people all the time. Let's discuss a little bit about that. Whenever I'm not using it, but whenever I see it being used in any account, I can see that the results are declining a lot. And I'm talking for changes like going from 3 rows to one for the top of funnel. And then the owner can come and say, yes, but this is true top of funnel. It's not actually retargeting people. And I totally agree. I'm not going to say that Facebook is saint and it's not stealing sales from retargeting also on the top of funnel. But let me tell you that based on what I told you earlier about Triple Whale and Hyros, that this is totally fine. What if we let Facebook steal some sales from our previous customers in the top of funnel, which are going to be used for optimization in order for us to find more customers? So what do we have? We have two cases. Case number one is that we're excluding everyone and we're just trying to find super fresh new clients all the time. I don't think that this is super sustainable also, especially for businesses that they want to scale. This is very difficult. And the second thing is that we are having Facebook stealing some sales. The ROAS that we're going to see are going to be higher. But in that case, maybe because of that, we're going to win one or two or three people that we wouldn't win on the other case because we have more data and Facebook is using more data from our previous customers in order to optimize and have more sales in our top of funnel. Now, the debate is this. Do we actually want Facebook to do it? In my opinion, not necessarily, but even if it does it, it's fine. Another example is the automatic placements. Why do we use automatic placements even if we know that we have 4 placements that are only working? When we see, we don't use it always, of course with Trend Pixels we can go to only the 4 placements, but when we see that this is working better, this is what I'm teaching also to my YouTube channel, that whatever is working and you should not touch it. So if automatic placements is producing better results, just because Facebook wants to push the concept and they want to steal some money, if at the end of the day I'm still winning more from what I'm losing, I'm totally fine with it. Okay, so the same situation is happening with the cold traffic ads. If in the cold traffic ads, Facebook is stealing some sales from people that they were going to convert anyway, or they were going to convert in our retargeting campaigns, fine, let it be. The same way that I say that if Facebook and Google they are stealing sales from each other, that it's helping them to actually optimize and get more sales, fine, let it be. So, in my opinion, we should not be so, strict with Facebook and stuff, because at the end of the day, it's data. Sorry, I'm having a sore throat today. So, if it's taking all of this data and it's going to optimize, it's fine, let them steal. I know it's going to be a mess as a business owner to be able to understand how much you're winning for this platform, but this is e-commerce. E-commerce is not a thing of I'm selling 5, I'm getting 10, I'm winning 5. You need to watch it from a holistic view, and you need to understand how it's working as a total. If you want to advertise in several platforms, be sure that each platform is going to steal sales from the other platform. Email marketing, email marketing is not going to steal sales, but Facebook is going to steal sales, or Google is going to steal sales from email marketing. Branded content ads on Google, they're stealing sales. So be prepared of having something like this and be able to evaluate the whole effort that you're doing with your social media as a whole, and not as how much I'm winning from Facebook, how much I'm winning from Google. It has to be a total effort that is going to work. So on that, I think that nobody should actually go and exclude past customers. And whenever I do it, guys, I can tell you that the results are much worse, and of course we know that the ROAS is going to drop, but the issue is not only that the ROAS is dropping, the issue is also that we are also losing potential sales because we're not having all the data that we could have. The other day also I was watching another guy talking about, he's a Greek marketeer. He was talking about Facebook ads, that he's doing Facebook ads and that he's disappointed that we have to change platform and stuff. Guys, if you are disappointed from Facebook, change platform, stop advertising to it, so that all of us that we know how to advertise on Facebook, we can stay and we can have proper results. For us, it's going to be less competition. And this is something that also happened after the iOS 14 changes. There are a lot of people that they have left the platform, and that means that we have now a new balance. Because before the iOS, we had all of these people coming and the advertisement cost was becoming higher and higher. After iOS, what happened? A lot of people left the platform. So now we have a new balance and people that have companies that they can actually advertise. Because back in the days, you could run ads with, let's say, having $5 or $10 cost per purchase. And that was very good for your business and your business was profitable. But when more people came to the platform, this cost per purchase and the CPMs rose, and we had more sales. We had less sales for the people, and the people needed to rework their numbers and stuff. So the companies that they needed $5 or $10 cost per purchase sustainably in order to be able to be profitable, they just left the platform. And it's totally fine because they protected their businesses. There are other companies that they have actually changed their numbers. They increase their average order value so that they can be able to operate with Facebook or Google with higher cost per purchase. So that being said, if you cannot advertise to Facebook, you should not advertise to Facebook. And if you can make changes in order to adapt to the situation of Facebook, nobody invited you on Facebook. If you make the changes, you can come and you can advertise to Facebook. It's totally fine. But don't tell that Facebook is not a powerful platform anymore, because this is total BS. If you're so obsessed with TikTok and you think that TikTok is the solution, go there and just watch and discuss with other people that they're just saying the same thing. The CPMs are very low, but the sales are not there. Of course, the sales are not there. And maybe TikTok is going to become a better and better platform as the years pass by, because now they have an algorithm which is very new and it doesn't understand completely how to sell. Of course, they copied everything from Facebook, and they're actually saying it. So whatever we see now, maybe on TikTok, it's like how Facebook used to operate at the starting years. But as TikTok is growing and growing and growing, the algorithm is going to become better. The algorithm is going to understand what people like and don't like, and it's going to have more sales and more sales. but not yet. Maybe in 2 years from now, okay? Because it needs data. And the fact that it needs data is that actually we're having TikTok having all of their interests being populated from credit card information from companies that they're selling to TikTok, instead of having an algorithm that's populating these interests because it understands what every people wants, which was also the biggest power of the Facebook algorithm, that understands the behaviors of people. For example, if I'm having my cat Sugar here, Facebook understands that I own a cat. If I'm speaking a language, it understands that I do this or that. This is why I'm saying that Facebook is a platform that is actually convincing people to buy something that they didn't know that they wanted 5 seconds ago. That being said, it's totally fine, guys. Whoever cannot advertise on Facebook, they can leave. They can let us continue advertising, because Facebook has such a huge potential and it didn't lose that. They're just businesses that they were super spoiled in terms of the results that they were getting, and they just didn't do the extra step of adapting to the situation for the next, for the changes that actually happened. Now, I have 2 more topics and then we're going to go to some of my print screens. How much time to?
36.
Huh?
36.
36 is fine. We have 30 more minutes of me talking. So, first of all, we have, I was talking to a company the other time. They have bought another company, and something happened. So they bought a company, but they couldn't take the pixel that the company was using. So my question was to them, why did you buy the company if you cannot take the pixel? Because if a company is actually having the majority of their sales on Facebook and you're not taking the pixel with you when you're buying the company, what's the point of acquiring the company? And then I realized also something else. I realized that they bought a company that had inflated numbers. Let me tell you how this is working. I hope that this podcast is going to help at least one of you understand how this scam, it's not a scam, but it is a scam, how it's working. So what people do is they say, look, we have spent this amount of money and we have made this amount of money on the platform. What they're doing though is that they go to their ad account, for example, they spend 100K, and then they have, for example, a revenue of 8K. So they have 0.8 ROAS. What they do is that they go and they delete the 50K spent from their ad account, and then they say that in order for us to get this revenue, we ran ads with only 50K and we got 8K, for example. And now someone can say, you can go and you can see the deleted. For example, let me tell you that a lot of people are not doing that. I'm actually working with one company that is helping other companies to acquire, and I know all the tricks because I go and I'm the one who is evaluating if a purchase should happen, if a company is legit or not, if the numbers that they say they're actually there. The situation is that a lot of times they're hiding it in the deleted section by deleting campaigns so that they can say that this is the actual spend that we spend in order to get this revenue. So that they are deleting spend from the ad account, or they're having another ad account that you will never see, that they're running more ads there. So they'll show you the one ad account which spend 100K. They show you 300K revenue, but maybe there's another ad account that spent 200K. And this is how it's working. This is how they're inflating numbers, and they're showing you that this company is making X amount of money with X ROAS. And then you give it to someone to run the ads, and you're just seeing 0.8 ROAS, the same ROAS that they were also getting with their brands. I have seen this a lot of times happening. I hope that this podcast, by saying that, is going to help a lot of people to understand that most of the times the good companies that they make a lot of money and they have 3, 4, 5 ROAS, they're not being sold. And the companies that they're actually being sold in the e-commerce business is the companies that they're actually distressed. So there are companies that they are not doing well and they're being sold so that someone can take them and actually reform them and make them better, just because they have already some clients. This is the situation. Most of the times the profitable ones are not being sold, and even if they are, they're being sold in very high prices. Now, last note about today. I'm onboarding a client this week, and this client is actually having a very interesting brand, and I really like to work with her and everything, and we're discussing about the ad account, and she's telling me that the only ads that she has run is Kickstarter, and because she had very good success with Kickstarter, something like spent 10k and got 100k. She thinks now that we can have the same results by spending 10k, have the same on the actual site. Just a second. The fact that you have spent 10k in a Kickstarter campaign, or in a campaign that goes to Kickstarter, however you may call it, it doesn't mean that if you spend 10k, you're going to have this amount of sales on your store. These are two different things. A Kickstarter campaign is different, and having an actual store with actual sales, purchases and stuff, it's a completely different funnel. So for whoever is doing Kickstarter ads, let me tell you that the situation after that is going to be completely different. And you know that you have a proof of concept, okay? You know that people like your product, you know all of that, which is very important. It's 90% of the job. But after that, the numbers that you're going to have in actual situations by having add to cart, checkout, purchase, repeated customers, and all of that, it's completely new situation that you have to discover. You don't know, for example, Kickstarter is a site, or Indiegogo is a site that is it Indiegogo? Indiegogo, I think it's called. It's a site that they are optimized for fundraising. You don't know if the site that you have made, it's actually good for purchases and stuff. You need to start testing your funnel, optimizing it, making it better, make the experience and the funnel better for your clients. So that being said, don't make assumptions for different kind of funnels. If something is working, for example, the same thing happened with a company. They were having a site in the WordPress, then they did another site in Shopify, because most of the people actually integrate to Shopify nowadays. And let me tell you that they didn't have the same results until we go through a process of optimizing the site all over again, so that we can go back to the normal numbers, because they changed completely the site and they did a rebranding. So that being said, whatever you do on Facebook, understand that each funnel is going to be different and you have to work through the process. Of course, having proof of concept is very important, because you know that you're not trying to sell something that is not selling. But at the end of the day, always have into your mind that Kickstarter, for example, and an actual store with purchases and stuff, they're two completely different situations. Now, let's go to my print screens. There are some things that I have prepared here. Okay, so first of all, the previous time we were discussing about the purchase preset. Today, I have seen a message. Yesterday, I've seen a message about a new purchase preset that Facebook has with 10 options. And this time, maybe they're watching the podcast, I don't know. They don't have any cost per click. They don't have anything else. They just have attribution setting, which is important, purchases, website purchases, meta purchases, cost per purchase, budget, amount spent, budget, which is all the things that we want to see in a purchase preset. So just because the other time I was saying a lot of bad things about Facebook, about the purchase thing and stuff, let me tell you that this time I totally agree with this preset, and I think that if I said anything bad about the previous preset, about this preset, I totally agree. And since I don't have that big ego, I should say good job to Facebook whenever it's doing a good job, and I should say the things that I said in the first podcast about the first preset whenever they're doing a bad job. So next thing is I was watching the other day one job post, and before I say anything about this job post, I want to say this. I'm sick and tired of watching all of these job posts with agencies. Guys, it's enough. it's enough. And I'm seeing all these kiddos, 20 years old, 21 years old. And I totally blame Iman Ghazi for that, okay? He did the whole thing with agencies, and him and Tai Lopez. And they convinced all the people that they just can become agency owners. And now we see so many job posts in Upwork that there are so many agency owners. I'm starting an agency, I'm starting an agency, I'm starting an agency. And you also see the attitude of people saying you're going to work for me. If you have to be hungry, you have to be that. And I'm sure that all of these are 20 years old kids that they're just dreaming of going to Dubai and having a Lambo just because this is what they have seen in videos from other people. And I'm totally against that that way of showing or flexing money in order to convince people to follow you and take your course and stuff. Um, I don't like it at all. I think that it's actually consuming your soul and you're becoming something else at the end and you're just living. I'm not saying that these people are not having money. I'm just saying that they're just trying all the time to show that they have money, and this is so sad. You can do so much things with your money and nobody know, and actually have fun instead of just not living the moments and just being always in a mobile phone trying to video film it and just show it to other people so that they can be convinced and buy your course about having an agency. And then we have the situation that we have all of these people having agencies and everything, and all of this bad experience. In the previous podcast, we analyzed how an agency actually worked and stuff. By the way, this client is coming to work with me again on December because he worked with them only for 1 month and he cannot do it anymore. So the situation is that I'm talking to more and more and more people that they are just have a bad experience with an agency, and it's all about people convincing convincing others that they know, and they don't care about who they're going to hire. They don't care about their media buyers, if they're going to be good or bad, and if they're going to have a good service. Anyway, I think that agencies right now, they are a big, huge issue for the industry because there's so much fake credibility out there and so many bad agencies that they're just promising crazy things, or they're just working without money, or just spending money, or they're just doing whatever they're doing, which I think that they're causing a lot of problems, and they're just making people more reluctant when they come to Facebook ads. So well done to all of you idiots that you're flexing money and you're just convincing 20 years old kids to have an agency and stuff, and hire people from India or Bangladesh. And I'm having nothing with the people from India and Bangladesh. There's some very good professionals there. But let me tell you that there are a lot of people that in India and Bangladesh that they're just going to do a job for $10 or whatever, and they are clueless about Facebook ads. They're just going to watch a course of 1 hour and they're just going to do some basic ads. So this is my problem with that. And to be honest with you, I'm not working anymore with agencies. I only have some connections to some very serious agencies. And because of the fact that I'm managing the ads on these agencies, I can tell you that they are also doing well. But in most cases, I have seen people super disappointed come to work with me on one-on-one and the way that I work. This is also one of the reasons that I will never become an agency, because sadly, I don't believe in hiring people to do Facebook ads, even if that means that I'm going to work with less clients and selected clients that I'm going to have. I'm never going to have employees that are going to do ads for me. I have friends, if I'm not going to have the capacity to refer, but I'm not going to make an agency ever going to make an agency, because I don't believe in it. And even with my friends, you're going to work in one-on-one, but there's no way that I'm going to make an agency and I'm going to just be the person that is going to convince you to come and then delegate the job to someone else. Whoever is coming to work is working directly with me. And of course, I'm not going to take every business. I'm just selecting also the people that I'm going to work with, just because I don't have the capacity of working with everyone. Anyway, That's the thing that I want to say about agencies. Let's go about the post that I read. It says, I have a small online business that sells Disney products. I'm not going to continue reading this. It actually brought me memories because back in the day, I also tried to sell Disney products. I was clueless at that point. I thought to myself, that's amazing. I'm having a business which is having so much marketing about their products and about everything. So I'm just going to sell their products. But little I know, Harley Davidson, Gucci, and Disney, I think these three companies, they are the most cruel ones when they come to copywriting things. So whoever is selling these products, let me tell you that even if you spend $1 or 1 penny, they have they have complete legal departments that they're going to hand you even in hell in order to take your money for what you have done. And they're ruthless, and they don't care about that. So because I didn't know, and now I think that this is something that everybody should understand. But let me tell you that when I was starting 10 years ago, I didn't know about that. I thought that you could do it. Let me tell you that if you have an idea about selling products that are copyrighted, you should not do it. And now it's also the question that comes from some people, why the people in China are doing it. The people in China are in China. You're not living in China, and people can find you. So even the people in China have problems, but this has to do with their government and if it's allowing it. But let me tell you that if you live in Europe, if you live in the United States, you're going to have a huge issue with that. And I didn't know it when I started. Of course, I didn't have a problem because it never went too far. I realized it in the middle of actually trying to do it. I haven't done it, so it's fine. But let me tell you that if you're doing it now, you should stop it immediately if you don't have a special permission. And maybe this person also has a special permission, okay? But I know that they're extremely costly. And yeah, I don't think that he has the way that he writes the post over there. And yeah, it was actually a good memory because it reminded me of how naive I was when I was starting doing e-commerce and how different I think right now after my experiences. Then we go to this one. Let me see, what is this? Okay. So it says, I have set up a Facebook campaign to run traffic to my booking page for backyard remodeling. I'm getting clicks at 0.5, but after sending over 150 people to my site, I'm getting 0 conversions. Well, another topic that we can discuss over here is this. It doesn't matter how many clicks you have, what kind of CPMs you have. It doesn't matter what kind of cheap traffic you are bringing to your site. It really matters if you're optimizing for conversion. The algorithm is very strict in what you have to ask. It's a machine. You have to ask the thing that you actually want, because if you don't, it's going to give you clicks. So when you're running traffic campaign, it's going to give you all the junk traffic, and it's not going to give you actually good traffic. So when you want to have a lead, for example, into your page, you need to do a conversion campaign with a lead event. If you do traffic campaign and then you're trying to send a lot of people to your site and some to convert, let me tell you that nobody is going to convert, because Facebook is extremely capable of bringing you only junk traffic, because it knows from all of these years from our behaviors what we are doing. It knows if we are actually going to a place and we are buying or not. It knows all of that. So guess what is going to happen? It's going to send you all of these people that are going to places and they're not converting if you're asking for traffic campaign. And for the people that they're asking for purchases, it's going to send all the people, it's going to try to send all the people that they have actually completed purchases, because this brings more possibilities to actually completing. But we should not blame Facebook, because if you're asking for traffic, this is what you're asking. And for you to say that, hey, I'm having 150 clicks but 0 conversions, means nothing. Okay, so doing a conversion event and saying that you have 150 clicks and you get 0 conversions, it's completely different from saying that I'm doing a traffic campaign, I'm having 150 clicks and I'm getting 0 conversions. They are two different worlds. Okay, now now that we said about that. Now, we have another question from my group. It says, hi again. I had some ads in a CBO campaign. They were wrongly rejected after subsequently revised. Now I have placed new ads which were also rejected for very strange reasons. A drawing of a goddess Aphrodite was shown and a woman's neck, so most probably it goes for nudity. Now I have collected a lot of offenses in a very short time. Do you have to worry about that? Let me tell you about rejected ads. When you're having a rejected ads, I think that you should not push too much, okay? So you're having rejected ads, okay? Try to do another creative stuff. Don't try to push again the same and the same. A lot of times these are wrongly rejected ads and you're going to review them and they're going to pass. But when you're when you're having this kind of problems, don't push with 50, 100 ads at the time. Just try to do it in a slower pace so that you're not going to trigger any automatic mechanism and maybe get you banned. This is my suggestion. Also, if you see that you're having a problematic creative, try to go and create something else, okay? And these are typical situations with some accounts that they have a specific creative that they don't like. Just remove it from the equation and just try to have something else that it's going to work for you. Also, another thing that I want to say here is that recently one of my friends had an ad account which had a payment failure. And this is also in the same category. It's all about having ads that are not a threat for the community. What I'm trying to say about the payment failure. A lot of times after the payment failure, we can see that the ad accounts are having very bad results. So you're having very good results, a payment failure, and then very bad results. Let me explain to you what is happening. Facebook is working like this. It's saying that whatever somebody is doing as an advertiser, it's influencing the community, and we try to protect the community from bad advertisers. So when someone is not actually paying, Facebook considers this a bad ad account. What does a bad ad account mean? That it might be an ad account that is not a threat for the community. When another account is paying and everything is fine and they're not having rejections, what is this ad account? It's a good advertiser, so it's not a threat for the community. What does this mean? We're going to give them better traffic. So I don't know if Facebook is doing this deliberately in order to punish you if you're not paying and give you a red flag. But I have seen that whenever we're having decline of payments, for 1 month or 2 months, we're having very bad results on the account until it recovers again. And I think that the reasoning behind that is that Facebook now, from being a good advertiser, immediately categorizes you in a bad advertiser, and you might be a threat for the community, which means that it's going to give you less quality traffic. So, very important and golden rule, as an extent to what I said to my friend here about the rejected ads, is that don't have payment failures in your account, because most probably you're going to regret it, and it will take you some time to recover and be considered again not a threat for the community and a good advertiser. Sorry, but this is how Facebook works. It's not my fault. Then we have another question from a guy in my group. It says, I have a pretty good Advantage Plus shopping campaign. How can I scale this the best possible way? Okay. First of all, let me tell you that for the Advantage Plus campaigns, the way that they are working is that, first of all, not all of you are going to have them, but Facebook is working on actually putting them in all the accounts. The thing with Advantage Plus is that after you do the Advantage Plus, you should not do more ads inside the Advantage Plus. Most of the times what I'm seeing, because Advantage Plus is fairly new, but I'm observing and I'm seeing that Advantage Plus is working in a way that it's optimizing for 1 or 2 ads, and after that it's forgetting all the others. So there is no point for you to introducing more ads inside your Advantage Plus. The second thing that I have to say is that we are having a situation where you should not put more ads inside because they are not going to be served at all. So 2 ways to scale it. First way is to actually duplicate this, and when you're duplicating this campaign, you are going to put a higher budget with more ads, or you can put the same budget, but instead of just increasing it. What I would prefer personally is to duplicate this campaign and put other creatives, more penetration to the market from more entry points, um, or duplicate the same one even with the same budget or higher budget if you want to scale. Another way is the ABO optimization way, which says that I have done it. Let me tell you that I have done it, and I'm not disappointed from that either. It can work also. So in Advantage Plus, what you can do is whatever we're doing in ABO optimization. The whole purpose of Advantage Plus is that you're having one ad so that you can pass the learning phase. What is the learning phase? 50 events in the attribution conversion window, which is going to be 7 days in that case. And the truth is that it's working very well with low CPMs and everything. So whenever you are passing the learning phase, in order for you not to enter again the learning phase, you should scale by 20%, not more than 20%. So every 2 days, you can go and you can increase by 20% and see if you are, for some people that they have less budget, you can, I guess you can do less, not less, I guess you can do more days. So you can, for example, increase for 20% and then change the budget again in 5 days to see how it's going to go. So increase by 20%, see how it goes. If it goes well, increase another 20%, another 20%. This is a rule that we use in ABO optimization. So this is also another way of doing it. And I would propose you to use it also because, to be honest with you, I have tested it with Advantage Plus and it's working also well. Golden rule over here, if you see that the ROAS are dropping so much that you don't want to drop so much, start and decrease the budget by 20% in order to find your balance again to the budget that it's actually going to spend with the best possible results. Okay, the next message is I had, and now we're going to the two last things that I wanted to point out before we close the podcast. Do we have 10 more minutes? How much is it? It's 1 hour. It's 1 hour already? Okay, so we will do 10 minutes more. The thing is that there's a guy that sent me an email and he's from Sudan. And he's telling me, I'm from Sudan, I cannot use the Facebook platform. What can you do if you're from Sudan? You cannot, if you're from Sudan and Facebook is banning the Facebook platform, don't use it. On the other hand, I don't know, try with a VPN or whatever. But in my opinion, if you live in a country that it's banning Facebook and you want to use it for professional reasons, either you have to move away from the country or you will just have to be okay with having always issues, crazy issues because you're using VPN or whatever. And if you ever get banned, don't blame Facebook for that. Blame your country that is not allowing Facebook. And I know that there are more countries that are banning Facebook and everything, which I think it's crazy. But anyway, now last thing. This is about Freelancer Diaries, one of my favorite topics. So here we are having. There's one thing from reviews. Of course, I'm going to hide the names and everything and just keep the text. It says here, I need a graphic art t-shirt designer. It says for this person, warning, beware. I have used a freelancer more than one time, so I know her well. I thought her talent was great until our recent contract. I asked for original images for a t-shirt collection. In return, I received breathtaking, beautiful pictures from her. I thought until I searched them in Google. Yes, Google. She sold me images straight from a stock photo website. After sending her screenshots and exposing her, she kept asking for more and more money to do replacement images. Why would I pay her more money and everything? Okay. Please don't waste your money here. And you can see below that she actually worked with this person again, and she says she's the best, she's the best, she's the best, she's the best, she's the best. So let me tell you what is happening over here. And the reason that I'm showing this is to explain that there is one site, guys, which is called Graphic River. Okay, so whatever you see on Fiverr for $5, it's just something that people buy from Graphic River and they give it to you. Don't think that these are original works. Also, I'm watching here that you paid here 50, 40, $7 one time. So what kind of work do you expect? Original artwork for this amount of money? Just stop thinking whatever is cheap for a reason, okay? And if you don't know it, because I didn't know it also, go to Graphic River, okay? And then go to Fiverr or go to Upwork and see the portfolios of people. You will see that most of these assets are being taken from there. And it's totally fine for the amount of money that you pay, okay? So be careful of what you are paying. And of course, let me tell you that sometimes you might pay something for $1,000 and it's still going to be from Graphic River, okay? So you have to be very strict with the people that you're working with for this kind of stuff. And here I'm seeing that she's disappointed after working with her for 3-4 times. But let me tell you that for the amount of money that you're giving her, she's actually giving you something. What do you expect her to tell you? Go and buy this image from the stock? So the whole industry of what we're doing is working based on the fact that people don't have the knowledge of specific areas. You didn't have the knowledge. Dropshipping is working like this. Dropshipping is working based on the knowledge that you don't know that AliExpress is existing and you can go and you can buy something from AliExpress. And I'm not saying that to blame here. I'm saying that in order to tell you that whatever we are doing and whatever we are seeing on the internet, it's based on the assumption that somebody doesn't know the thing that we know. For example, somebody doesn't have the knowledge that I have about Facebook ads. This is what I'm using. Somebody else doesn't have the knowledge that you can buy this from Walmart and he's buying it from Amazon just because he's lazy or whatever. But somebody is just buying this from Walmart and then he's listing it on Amazon. Somebody doesn't know about dropshipping and how it's working. So there are people that they are selling items with dropshipping. And somebody doesn't know that you can go to Graphic River and you can buy a logo for $5 from there and sell it for $20 to someone on Fiverr. Okay, these are things that are happening every day, and let me tell you that they are very common, and that for an amount of money like that, you shouldn't be so upset with her that she's using stock photos, because everybody's actually using stock images and stuff. I don't know what kind of idea do we have here about logos and everything. They are not people that are just painting the logos or creating them in Illustrator from the beginning. They're just taking them ready and they're just adapting them to whatever you want to have. So I think that this podcast is the biggest one so far. I had so many things to tell you for one more time. I hope that you enjoyed it. Until we meet again, guys, don't forget that you can check my book or my free course if you want to learn more about Facebook ads. And you can check my link about Hyros. I'm joking, there's no link. And until we meet again, guys, be creative and be consistent. I will see you the next week in the next podcast, which is actually the podcast before Black Friday. It will be fun. Bye. This was the Facebook Ads Breaking News Podcast. Like it or not, it is what it is.